All right, everybody, we are back, and finally, we got our last game of the day. One more banger with Illinois State University going up against Gmae. This is do or die scenario, as both teams are 2-2 in the record books, and one of these teams will be eliminated.
Yeah, and you can see right now that these teams are blazing through this pick ban phase, and we had a decent bit of time waiting for the draft to start. So it seems like a lot of the thinking has already been done in the pick bans. Blue side looking to take away the Ivern, the Udyr, and the Rengar. All right, a decent bit of focus towards that jungle spot on GMA's side. But as ISU right now, once again, lose out on the potential Seraphine pick. They have been using that so effectively that removing that from them is going to be exactly what's anticipated.
The Varus is going to be banned up as well, but it might not matter for ISU because so far the past two games we've seen, they have been running the Ashe comp. And we saw Bard Ashe last time, and as I mentioned that, ISU going 3 for 3 in games tonight with an Ashe on their team. We've seen the Ashe Bard, we've seen an Ashe Vex duo. What do you think ISU is going to pull out this time based on their previous performance?
Honestly, I think that if you're going to be taking the Ashe on first pick blue side, you're just going to pick based off of what the enemy team picks. And Aphelios as the response here, honestly, not too surprising. A decent amount of damage as the reply to the Ashe. Ashe might be able to start a lot of fights and has that go button ready, but if she can't output the same amount of damage as you, it won't matter. So if the Aphelios gets ahead, it could be huge here. Now, what exactly Gmae picks as the response here is the biggest question, as you could take a Felly Thresh, or instead going to go with the more aggressive route is the Nautilus. All right, so this bot lane is going to have tons and tons of kill pressure. You have to have something ready in order to mitigate that.
I was leaning a bit more towards that Philly Thresh, like you've been mentioning. It's such a strong duo together, but I think it also can help lock down the members of ISU with that CC, because with the Ashe online, the members of Gmae are not going to be able to run away from the slow arrows. So if you could pull that backline in off Thresh and land a nice 3-4 man ultimate, you're going to be slowing up all the members of ISU. They're not going to be able to kite you as effectively.
Yeah, and with the Alistar pick here, that is going to be a guarantee that you're going to get a point-and-click CC onto the Aphelios. The only one to able to stop it so far is going to be the Nautilus. You might be able to see some crazy counter picks here, like a Poppy or something like that, in order to deny that Alistar's efficacy. But either way, only time will tell. Right now, ISU now still in the driver's seat, likely going to be picking another jungle pick. It is the Xin Zhao.
Is that 3 for 3?
I was about to mention. No, not quite the 3 for 3. We did see a Trundle.
Yeah, that's right.
Around.
Yes, against Gentle Hearts, they did pull out the Trundle.
Instead is going to go back to try, true, and tested here with the Xin Zhao, as I'm guessing for Gmae, you're going to take a jungler in response.
Hold up!
Oh!
Our first brand jungle of the NACLQ?
I'm not 100% certain on that, but this brand could very much be the jungler, could also still be flexed into that mid lane. So, you cannot sleep on that. While I do think that Brand is a much better jungler than he is a mid laner, into Xin Zhao is ballsy as hell. I mean, that man will eat you alive if you don't path properly, especially when you're looking at, Cross ISU's jungler, who has been performing exceptionally well here. So the Rumble going to be taken away by Gmae, as more mid laners getting taken away by ISU here. They're calling Gmae out. They're saying there is no shot on planet Earth that is going to be anything other than a brand jungle.
And with the Gwen ban coming out and targeted towards the top side, that opens up the Riven out of Meslo on ISU to maybe be picked up. We've seen the Rumble Riven being banned countlessly against him. So it could be that finally we will see the Riven going in with Xin Zhao and Alistar. It could be kind of a deadly combination here. The Ornn is going to be banned out as well. So this could mean that the side of Gmae could be leaning towards something like Sion or Gnar, but the Sion is starting to be hover here. I kind of like this pick. You have a very, very tanky front line, and like you mentioned, I think this definitely leads towards a strong AP scaling brand jungle.
That being said, the Sion pick, definitely a strong pick here, but blind when Aatrox is available into day one could be disastrous. I think this is a hardcore Aatrox slam here. ISU right now still deliberating on the pick, trying to figure out, does this fit with our team composition? Does this fit with what we're trying to do? It is going to be the Xin Zhao Orianna, so you still have that, point and click ball delivery system with the Ori Alistar. You could also opt for something like the Gnar, so that way you have a full-on team Wombo, but you're gonna have to have something to deal with a Sion later, and I honestly think Aatrox is your best bet here. I mean, you have Aatrox, you have Set, you have champions that have a lot of ways to deal with massive health stacking on the Sion, but Cassante is going to be the answer. The gauntlet is slammed down. It says, hey,
no, the Riven!
Let's go with the Riven. Never mind. All right, you were hyping it up, Cilantro, and here we go. The day one Riven on the table.
Day one, maybe been playing day one Riven since day one, who knows? It's been banned from them this entire day, and now it is going to be slammed. You have an Orianna ball that could just pull them all in for your Riven stun, and off of the fact of Sundered Sky being extremely broken right now as well, this champion is going to scale into oblivion if you let her. That being said, on the other side, Atalia has been picked up, so we could still see a little bit of a flex here between a brand jungle or a Talia jungle. I think we might have to wait till we get into the game, honestly.
I think it's 100% going to be a brand jungle pick, as Talia, very, very strong in the mid lane right now with things like Storm Surge, with the Shadow Flame. Like, this champion just pumps out so much damage, but I have to just give massive, massive props to Day One's Riven. Day One currently in solo queue has been spamming the hell out of this champion. I mean, I think that's 14 games played right now. At the very beginning of the season, 86% win rate on the Riven, right? And this Riven has been hard carrying a lot of these games, very, very much using that Sundered Sky, that Eclipse, so much damage on this Riven. You cannot leave this Riven alone. And because of that, I think that the Talia's a phenomenal pick here. They're likely going to be devoting a lot of resources towards the top lane to shut down Day One.
I agree. I think that's definitely the play out of Gmae here today. But like we mentioned, this game is do or die for both these teams. And what better way to go out fighting if you're Illinois State than with a top lane Riven? So I'm really excited. Drew has also been putting on a clinic with these mage champions. We saw him on the Vex earlier today where he was phenomenal. So going maybe that Storm Surge like you mentioned on the Riven, on the Orianna for some more burst damage on the Shockwave. I think that the combos here with the CC that ISU have is going to be kind of deadly.
Absolutely. But once we're on the Rift, the only thing that we know for sure is that this game is bound to be a banger. You got Aphelios Nautilus in the bot lane from Gmae to try to make sure that any single champion doesn't have the opportunity to carry. You've got Talia in the mid lane to make sure that Xin Zhao, Alistar, and Riven don't get a free access to the back line, right? And all of this being said, we've been talking up the Riven. Brand Jungle is far from a standard pick in NACLQ. This is the first one that we've seen. I'm not sure if it's the first one of the day, but this is something that could spice up to be very, very fun.
Yep, I am excited to watch this match. Our last match of the day, these two teams' last match of the day, and we will be back in approximately 2 minutes to kick it underway. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are out on the Rift now, and we got some cheeky looking like Invade coming out once again from this ISU team, but this time they have an Alistar in the bot side, so this is going to be a little interesting how they play this out.
Before, we had seen a lot of plays with, oh my god, already with the Ghost coming in from Disconnector.
Yeah, they're looking to put this Nautilus back in the base. Not going to be able to pick up a kill on him, but chunking down that health bar is going to be crucial for gaining the level 2 advantage first off in this bot lane. But look at Jungle Barber has already moved in towards the counter side of the map and places down a ward on that blue buff. Honestly, probably could have committed and taken the blue buff from Cross.
Yeah, maybe that is the play, but maybe not. I don't know. Day one, still able to hop over to that blue buff, make sure that Jungle Barber isn't going to have a chance to do anything remotely close to that. Meanwhile, you got 4 people sitting at this blue buff from the side of ISU. And with that, Cross now going to start up that vertical jungling.
Yep, they are going to pick up, though, off the vision of Elias. He will know that that's there, so Jungle Barber could cross map and go take that blue buff if he so chooses to. And we see that the bot lane has started to move out. They want to grab a little bit of space. Got to be careful, though, because the Nautilus hook does hurt just a little bit. But let's talk about this top lane matchup, because, like you mentioned, if a good Riven is very skilled, that Scion is going to have a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, any Riven worth their salt will not let that Scion land a fully charged Q onto her at all. I mean, the only way you can do it is with vision shenanigans, but in the middle of a fight, no, she's got stun, she's got knockup, she's got dashes out the wazoo to make sure that you can keep the Q from ever even coming out in terms of damage. So day one with that Riven, you know, with I'm almost certain is their most comfortable champion this season. Should be able to do a lot. And speaking of a lot, oh my god, that's a lot of damage in this bot lane already.
Yeah, Good Shot is forced to use the Ghost to be able to get out there. And in the top side, Daniel is not having a fun time against day one. I mean, there's a reason this Riven has been banned out from them all day long. But that level 2 advantage in the bot side did go in favor of Disconnector and Nausicaa. And now they're looking for some sort of tower dive. Jungle Barber is in the area, but does he know Cross and Drew are there as well? The flash forward out of Cross, and the TP is coming out of Daniel. They might have the tankiness. Ignite's going to come down on Aphelios, but it will not be enough, will it? It's Cross getting the first blood, but it's traded out too. The tower dive probably not going in your favor if you're ISU.
Yeah, it is a 2-for-1, but that is a huge wave denied from Good Shot. The bot lane matchup is just feeling so rough if you're Good Shot and Mitchell right now. Meanwhile, Jungle Barber with that trade back, make sure that Drew might have to look at a recall here. You know, gonna be teleporting back to lane, making sure that Elias's teleport is utilized effectively. It's not going to be losing out on too much. And actually, we got a full-on lane swap real quick here from Good Shot and Elias, making sure that all the gold gets picked up across the map. You're not going to be losing anything to arbitrary lane assignments.
I agree. Going to be able to pick up all of those waves. The next dragon is going to be online in about a minute, and Jungle Barber with the invades going to be able to take up some of those camps and maybe look for some type of gank. You see Elias is in the area as well. No wall online just yet for this Tali. As a flash forward with the hook is going to end up landing onto Nausicaa, but that's the person you want to be able to eat the hook for you. He headbutts him back over the tower. The empowered autos will be enough damage. It's not looking like it so far. Jungle Barber, it might be able to still follow up with this as Nausicaa is about a quarter of HP. But do they decide to go for the tower dive? No, instead they're just going to back off a little bit, let this wave shove in, and Jungle Barber still hanging around in the area, but they do not know. The bot lane of ISU are unaware, so they need to find out how they can shove this wave back in their favor. Here comes the Brand, looking for some type of stun. It's going to end up landing. A hook goes down onto the ashes while the root comes out, and that's a double kill. The tower dive finally pays off in favor of Gmae.
Yeah, and Jungle Barber just so patient with that eventual dive, just waits for it and then gets the checkmate. Nausicaa had 0 ways to dodge that. I mean, if you walk backwards just a little bit, you still get hit by the E into the electrocute. So that's a guaranteed kill from Jungle Barber. Beautifully played. Meanwhile, on this top side, day one on the Riven, doing a lot of work, has picked up the Cull, has picked up a 20 CS lead, might be looking to extend that soon, but for now, just looking to secure those Void Grubs, and we've seen just how much work these Void Grubs do. The moment you get over to a tower, that is gold galore.
Yeah, and with Riven on the map, someone that can benefit a lot from split pushing and can do a ton of damage when they've got that Sundered Sky and maybe Titanic combo if they choose to build into that, then those towers are not going to be living for quite a long time if she goes unanswered. However, first dragon of the map has been spawned up. It is a single cloud dragon, so not the most beneficiary of an individual dragon buff, but most of the members of Gmae are already out and in that area, and with a bot lane prio at the moment, they're going to be looking to start stacking.
Yeah, meanwhile, in this top lane, we are just going to be seeing trade after trade after trade. Directed Cam loves heavy traders. I am so happy to see Riven just going absolutely ham every single time, still looking to build up into that Sundered Sky. Meanwhile, you've got a large CS lead in the top lane, but a CS lead in a Sion only means so much.
Yeah.
Like, sure, Sion is going to be behind, but he's still going to be tanky.
Those tank items are what are extremely broken in the game, and we see the positioning is starting to stack around the Cloud Dragon. It's Drew stuck in the mid lane, forced to respond to a wave after it's being pushed out of Elias, and the Dragon's going to already be started. I'm pretty sure that ISU is aware, but they have no other choice but to go ahead and give this over.
Yeah, they're just going to look to keep this game running as their team is going to continue to scale up to a point that will be much harder to deal with. Day one on the aggression might have a little bit of a experience deficit, far from a CS deficit, but definitely keeping up the control. Oh my lord.
Yep, he's putting in absolute work against Daniel. I think that he has recognized that right now with his bot lane being very much weak-sided, he's got to step up and perform so that this top side of the map can get ahead and find a way back in if you're ISU. You already have a lost chapter picked up compared to the Talia on the opposite side if you are Drew. So roaming towards these objectives with your shockwave is going to be extremely beneficial. You need to start picking up some picks because the top side of the map of... Oh, the shockwave actually comes down. Oh. It barely hits, though, and it's not nearly enough to catch out that brand.
Yeah, and crucially, also doesn't deny the red buff, so you still see a lot more of that farm coming in for Jungle Barber here, as Cross is not level 6 only until grabbing that Krug here, but you got so much top lane priority that Day One is going to make sure that nobody can touch his jungler.
So if you're the side of Gmae, do you continue to start pathing towards bot side and exponentially push that lead and trying to play out with this Aphelios and Nautilus, or do you try and find a way to shut down this Riven in the top side so that ISU can't find an angle to come back in this game?
Honestly, at this point, I feel like you either bring 4 members up top lane to make sure that Day One doesn't have a chance, or you just absolutely slam bot lane, right? In the end, it is still an Ashe. The most she can do is run away a little bit faster. She cannot dash out of any sort of danger, so it's going to be a lot easier to catch onto an Ashe than it is onto a Riven, as Day One is just running away with this lead.
Absolutely. More and more waves are going to be shoved into the tower, and with the Void Grubbling spawning up here very shortly, they're going to be looking to get that 5-6 maybe stacks of that brand new objective. And then once with those towers shoving, that Riven is going to be allowed to start hitting and potentially breaking that Sion's tower quicker, which is going to allow her to get even more lenience across the rest of the map. As we see another invade is coming down. They might be looking for some more jungle or bot lane dives, as Elias is level 8, has the Wandering Wall online now. This time they could look for another bot lane gank. They're starting to position around it. Will the wall come out, and can it be Benefactory? The TP is going to be coming out of Drew. He's got that shockwave online, a nice flash knock-up headbutt. He's eating turret shots, actually. It turns back in favor of ISU, but the shutdown goes over to the support.
Yeah, the shutdown going over to Nausicaa, honestly, is the smallest bit of respite for Gmae here, as they're losing on both sides of the map. A dive gone wrong, as Drew manages to get in just in time. All 6 Void Grubs going down, and all of a sudden, Day One is up 40 CS with 6 stacks of Void Grubs. This tower is going to go down so unbelievably fast the moment Daniel blinks.
I agree. He's got to be very much mindful, but also with the tower falling quickly, it's going to give Daniel even more time to roam across the map as well once he gets those tank items online and be benefactory in the team fights. But somebody will have to eventually respond to the top side pushes. We've got an Infernal Dragon spawning in about a minute 20, and it feels like the wave is starting to feel pushed back in ISU's favor a little bit here, but they still are a tiny bit behind in terms of bot lane damage.
Now, one thing I do have to wonder, right, as just, you know, a little bit of an interaction here, do Void Drubs count for Scion passive? I'm not 100% certain. I know that when it first got added onto the PvE, they did, so they changed it so that way when you're taking the Void Drubs, they don't count for Scion passive, but if these do count for Scion passive in lane, Daniel might be getting a little bit tankier, a little bit faster than he had anticipated.
Yeah, and that will potentially end up being a problem, as I'm expecting an all-out dragon brawl here in the next 20 seconds. Daniel having the TP and ultimate online, whereas Day One does not have the TP to respond, but she can stun up Daniel and stop him from TPing into the fight, so that could be what they're starting to play for. We see 3 members already moving down towards the bot side, just like previously before. Elias is going to shove out this wave and potentially move themselves. So right now, it's all Gmae positioned in this bot side river, as look where Kroos is. This is going to be absolutely free once he shows onto the map, and they're trying to get a pick onto this Silas. He's able to flash away after ulting the Xin Zhao, so the engage does absolutely nothing, but it doesn't matter because the tower is shredding.
Yeah, but honestly, this is one of those moments where you think to yourself, well, what matters more to me? Is it the immediate gold, or is it the dragon stacking? Yes, the soul is not going to be a possibility for the side of ISU this game until the game gets very, very late. But when you're pouring that much gold into a Riven, it's going to be so difficult when they have to answer the question of who can deal with the Riven.
Another bot lane tower dive here potentially. Drew is in the area this time. No TP, so he made sure to have the proper roam timing. And I think they spotted out that Orianna, and now they're going to go ahead and retreat as Nautilus takes that Hextech gate back to his side of the map.
Yeah, Goodshot does have the fully completed Storm Razor, which definitely will be feeling pretty nice in comparison to Disconnector simply sitting on Bork components. But there's so much gold on Day One right now. Honestly, if you could just show off how much gold it is right now, just, you know, hit X real quick. What in the
6K?
3K gold lead on Day One alone.
We see a potential invade here. Day One is there. Does not have the ultimate, though, so they might not be opting to go for this fight. I mean, you're up against the 2-1 brand that has the Leandries online, so I don't think that's a fight you want to take, but you're about to run into a 2v1, but Drew is there. Can they find a singular pick here, potentially? No shockwave committed just yet. It goes under the brand, but he has Ghost, and is completely negated. Drew has been so far a little bit negative with these shockwaves at the moment this game, but this might be turning around. Multiple members of Gmae are in the area. The flash hook is going to go wide, but I mean, it doesn't entirely matter because you have a Hextech flash later on, but that's a lot of cooldowns burnt for Gmae, and I think that they can just go ahead and solidify this Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate from Drew not quite connecting works out totally fine because it still forced out the Ghost from Jungle Barber, and Brand without Ghost just lacks so many ways how to get into lanes, how to start making things happen. Yes, you're sitting on a fully finished Leandries. Yes, you'll put out a ton of damage in a team fight, but the game's about more than team fights. It's about this gank, and okay, goodbye Disconnector. Caught sleeping on the bottom side of the map.
This bot lane has not been enjoying themselves whatsoever, but I think that was a pick given over to the Talia. So 2-0 on this AP mid laner is pretty substantial if you are the side of Gmae, because Talia has definitely the benefit to carry games. And look at all those Void minions. They absolutely decimated that tower. 2 top tier 2s are now gone. So I'm expecting we're going to see some kind of lane swap here eventually. and maybe Riven's gonna start taking off these bottom towers, and then now she wouldn't have to TP to the bot lane for these fights. As we see Drew, he's gonna end up getting rooted up and stunned. The chain CC combo is devastating, but here comes Day One. Can they be the savior? Gonna stun up Jungle Barber and find one pick, but no real lifesteal on this top laner. All you can do is dash away with your shield, forced to use out the flash. She's going to be able to dodge out that Scion ult completely, and it was absolutely pure mechanical from Day One there.
Yeah, Day One just had to play around those cooldowns and just barely managed to get out, but also managed to pick up his first kill of the game. And the fact that you have been able to deny as many kills as possible from this Riven has been the biggest boon from Daniel. On the Scion, playing things safe, playing to deny the eventual scaling, but Day One still outputs so much damage.
Yeah, if I'm the side of Illinois State, I'm looking to find some way to push this Riven to the limits and take as much macro and objectives as you possibly can. We have 50 seconds until that Hextech Soul Dragon starts to spawn. It is Soul Point for Gmae, and you have to win a fight around your Riven here, or it's going to start looking pretty gruesome if you're the side of ISU trying to find an angle back into this game, because the brand is still scaling, the Talia is still scaling, and I mean, Aphelios, this patch just does a ton of damage.
Yeah, but it's not like there's no scaling on the side of ISU. Disconnector, as we've seen before, has incredible ultimate placement with the Ashe, right? That go button is exactly what you want from the Ashe, and in a competitive setting, this is exactly why you pick the Ashe, right? It's not just because of her damage output, it's because she allows your team to go straight in, and with the Alistar and the Xin Zhao ball delivery system, it's going to make things so much easier for Day One to get access to the backline when the entirety of Gmae has to worry about the Wombo to begin with.
The Dragon has already been started up. Wall is online for Ilias, so you see how they decide to move replacement of this. But a flash forward Alistar ball delivery with the Shockwave. It's going to pick up 2 for Day One. You talked about the Xin Zhao. I think we forgot about the Moo Cow.
Yeah, and just like that stand-aside sniper, it's going to be Day One getting the headshots straight across Gmae. 6-6 on kills, but dear Lord, can you say Riven Gap?
And this mid lane tower is going to be worse for wear with those Void Grumblings spawning in, and Ashe arrows do absolute tons of damage to it. This game, it looks extremely close, about a 4, almost 5k gold lead between these two teams, but look at the tower decifits. The only one down if you're ISU is the bot tower, and that's the one that doesn't matter.
Yeah, when all of the experience, gold, and time has been poured into making Disconnector as irrelevant as possible, not fully recognizing the fact that this man's playing Ashe. Ashe is still going to be useful. There's a reason Ashe support exists as a champion, because no matter how little gold Ashe has, she's always going to be relevant. Meanwhile, Nausicaa with a phenomenal phenomenal angle, and right there, once again, still looking for more opportunities, means that it's so difficult for Gmae to find their ends. But that being said, Gmae are far from out. Jungle Barber has just now finished the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, which on brand is such a huge boon.
Yeah, so we got 2 slows on both sides right now. The brand is going to start slowing and the Ashe is going to start slowing. So we see it's a battle of who can't move the most. So the next Rift Herald is going to be online here. Actually, no, it's going to be Baron up now. I think we missed the second Rift Herald.
There's only one Rift Herald nowadays.
Oh yeah, there is. Oh yeah, my bad. So the next, the Baron will be up online, but I think they're setting their sights towards this Talia. The Wandering Wall is online. And the Ashe Arrow, it lands. Will the Shockwave come out? It will. No, actually no. They do end up holding it because Elias does not have the flash online. So now they can start moving to a potential on-spawn Baron pick here, and having that ball delivery with Xin Zhao and the Shockwave still online, that is going to be crucial for this potential objective fight. And right now, it's looking like they're going to end up pinching them in the mid lane. Who's going to find the engage first? It's Nautilus. He lands a hook onto the Mookow. Flash forward out of this. Aphelios trying to get away. He's forced to pop the ghost, but that's going to be disconnected. Finding a pick onto Jungle Barber. A nice knock up as a 3-man shockwave will end up getting the pick onto Nautilus. The Aphelios is going to ignite burn to death, and now it's just a Scion passive. The Baron is free for the taking.
Yeah, and that fight looked so good for just a smidge of an opportunity. Good shot was left untouched, just firing away in that backline again and again. And you said earlier that Drew's ultimates were leaving something to be desired. Well, how about that one? What a shockwave. Just pulls the entirety of Gmae into ISU, and it just looks phenomenal. ISU with their backs against the wall are showing up huge in this game.
So we now have a 3-item power spike for this top lane carry out of day one. The Black Cleaver has been picked up online. It's going to be very good at shredding this tank Scion and Nautilus, but Cosmic Drive is picked up for this Orianna. No Storm Surge built just yet. I think we might be a little bit confused as to why, but I mean, it could be coming later on.
I mean, Storm Surge is a situational pick, honestly. Not necessarily situational, but I think it might be a playstyle kind of thing. Cosmic Drive allows Drew to just stay alive, stay safe, stay healthy, and allow day one to continue to push down these towers. I mean, when you've got 6 Void Grubs, it's going to be so rough to deal with when they're also baroned up. But right now, Drew already does so much damage. Do you really need more damage when you can simply have more survivability?
I mean, you do make a very good point, and as a squishy AP mage that you were so crucial to your fight, getting that ultimate off and shielding up your allies with the ball, I think you make a great point. It is better to just stay alive for as long as possible as a control mage, and now they're starting to move down towards this dragon. It'll be second one of the game for ISU, and I don't think Gmae is in any position to contest this.
Yeah, who knows what in the world Gmae would have to do in order to actually take this dragon away from ISU. I've got no clue. They'd have to like sacrifice a billion different things. But right now, it's just going to be the dragon they're sacrificing, going to say, you know what? You have such a gold lead, we're not even going to look in your direction. Let us be. Let us scale up. Let us exist.
Yeah, we are 23 minutes into the game and already have that 10k gold lead. ISU played perfectly around their Baron buff and took all of the remaining towers on the map except those inhibitor turrets. So they have pickpocketed every single piece of gold they have out of this Gmae team. So now it's up to Gmae to find these wave pushes and find an angle to bounce back. I think maybe try and solidify some type of tower pick or some type of solo pick, like such as Riven in the top lane. You can send 5 people to pick her off, but right now it's looking like you may potentially be picked off in your own jungle, but they're going to opt for not to fight instead.
Yeah, honestly, with as much vision control as ISU have right now, it's so difficult to walk into this jungle against a team that has such strong pick potential. You've got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, you've got the Headbutt Pulverized combos. It's just going to be so rough. Meanwhile, day one, splitting that bot lane is going to be something you send multiple people to take care of. This Riven at 3-0-3 with 3.5 items is looking to make a huge splash in the spot lane. And if you don't send more than just Elias and Jungle Barber, it's going to be an issue.
That arrow barely missed off that Bran and Talia in the bot lane at that. So they're looking to just milk all of the resources that Gmae has left standing so that they take even longer to find an angle back into this game. But as long as you have these mages on your team and 2 items on your Aphelios so far, you can play to get that 3rd item power spike and maybe then you can find an angle to fight back in this game. They might be looking to get a pick onto day one, but no, the reinforcements have arrived, and that is what Gmae can see, and they have backed off.
Yeah, and if you hit tab and look into ISU's inventories, you can see that the Mon Mortiuses are slowly getting picked up. And you have to be so worried about that as Gmae here, as a lot of the damage on Gmae is magic. The only real physical damage threat that you have is going to be the Aphelios. Meanwhile, Day One getting chased down here, but I still don't think that you can catch this ribbon.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Too many dashes, too many kick flips is just going to be able to get away realistically for free every single time. I would have realistically probably went for that pick on the Orianna in the top side all alone. If you want to find some kind of angle back into it, she's got a 300 gold bounty. Put that onto your Aphelios, help them get to that 3-item power spike, and then maybe, just maybe, you can find an angle back into a team fight over the next dragon.
Yeah, either way, right here, you're gonna be worried if you're Gmae as to what exactly it is that ISU is going to be doing next. You know, there's this huge ribbon that you have to deal with and the huge team fight potential of the Wombos. So right now, honestly, when you're this far behind, I think your best bet is go for a pick. Group up, death ball, make something happen. You know, with the Nautilus ultimate, with the Talia wall, you can make a pick across the map, or you can try to make some crazy split push play happen with Daniel on the Scion. Either way, only time will tell as to what exactly Gmae choose to do, but there's so few options left available for them.
Baron is up in 20 seconds, and this is looking all ISU. They have the util, they have the needs, and they have the Ash Arrow on the Aphelios. That's the engage Q button. They're looking for potentially more, not committing anything just yet, as the Baron has just now gotten out onto the map, and it's day one going forward. Has the ultimate, looking for more. Flash forward out of the Scion, trying to knock up and get rid of this heavy top lane carry, but he flashes forward with a knock up to help his team secure the dub here and now. Flash out of the Nautilus would not be nearly enough. The Scion has fallen, and it is all Disconnector putting in those arrows to help his team chase down these members of Gmae.
And earlier today, we saw so much of ISU rely on the Disconnector Drew combos, and right here, instead, it is Drew day one, just having that electrifying, just absolute banger of a combo with the Ribbon and Orianna ultimate stacked on top of each other. How much damage do you think this team can really put out is always wrong, because they always find a way to put out even more.
They're going for that third dragon of the game. Realistically, I don't even know if we think that they need it at this point, but 3 Hextech dragons is going to be picked up for the side of ISU, and there is no fight you can even realistically take. If you are Gmae at this point, you are down 7, about I think that's about what, it is less than 10k gold. They are down less than 10k gold, so they're slowly but surely starting to find some scaling back into this game. So, like I said, I still think there might be a fight win opportunity if you could get these item power spikes on your mages and on that Aphelios.
Yeah, I mean, I saw T1 Academy lose this the other night, but ISU's built different here.
Yep, they're looking for a fight, all fights to end this game. They've got the Baron buff, the Foot Grumblings are going to help out that little bit more, but who is going to hit that engage button first? We talked about Drew in day one, and the Ash Arrows are completely crucial too. So, will we see another ball engage, or will both teams just kind of sit back here a little bit, farm up these towers, try to keep something alive? It is day one going to be able to slay up this mid tower very easily. A nice Nautilus knock-up is going to force the flash out in the Moonlight Vigil. Is it enough damage with Brand? No, it is not. So multiple ultimates used out of the side of Gmae for realistically no kills. The Ash Arrow is back and online once again. Will they decide to proc it and force a fight here? You've got Drew already recalling, but he has the TP online. So will they choose to continue to pressure this bot lane? Yes, they will. They're looking for more. They want to end the game now. It took so long to start. The Ash Arrow is going to land on the Talia, and then Autos might be the one that's caught out. It might be the game killer. Yes, it will. As Kroos goes forward with the flash and a nice 3-man knockup out of day one on the Ribbon. It's going to pick up a double kill. This champion has been banned from him all day, and we are seeing it. Why? He is 6-0-7 and absolutely decimated the side of Gmae as they take their second win of the day in this NACLQ Combine and continue forward, and Gmae ends up getting eliminated.
Right, and just like that, ISU manage with a huge Riven ego pick at the last second, and I cannot believe that in the end, Day 1's Riven makes it through and shows exactly why it's been banned every time.
That game was 30 minutes on the dot. No seconds at all. They ended that game purely in half an hour flat. So what a performance from ISU. Great bounce back after their Gentle Hearts Gaming game previously. So glad to see they kept that mental fortitude. They kept their headstrongness and they pushed forward to take another dub here tonight. Huge shout outs to this squad. They have been performing really well on point with one another.
Yeah, and obviously huge shout outs to Gmae as well, who decidedly put up a huge fight, right? The roams into that bot lane, those dives just did so much, but unfortunately it just didn't quite work out as they had hoped. Yes, you put all your eggs into this one basket and sometimes it doesn't work out. Good Shot still managed to put out a ton of damage. Jungle Barber's brand making that debut really showed, just why Jungle Brand is something you have to be paying attention to. But in the end, Day 1 Riven and Drew's Shockwaves just absolutely decimated that team.
Congratulations to both teams on your NACL Open Qualifier runs this past weekend. We hope to see you guys in the future and keep your heads up and keep fighting forward.